How you going, people? You say you want a revolution. Well, alright. Tactics. I'm going to talk about some tactics here. Can't tell if I'm in that damn camera or not. Yeah, I think I'm in it. Alright. So, I've got so many notes here on tactics. What I'm going to do for this video is I want everybody to put notes in this video for the comments about what you think I ought to cover in tactics. Out of all these things I'm mentioning, I'm trying to figure out an outline because there's going to be several tactical. When I start telling you all the notes, I'm going to be able to group some of them into comm or movement or recon or seizing goods or planning or chaining. So there's going to be a lot of different things. I should start my timer because if I don't, it'll be I won't know how long I'm yapping here, and I don't want to yap too long. So, tactics. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through all my notes, or most of my notes here, and then I'm going to let you pick and choose or make comments because I have a varying range of audience out here. I have people who are ex-military who has tactics and has training, and they may think something's important that's going to be important in a revolution that I may not cover or I don't mention. And then I have other people who have absolutely no tactics whatsoever. They've never been formally trained. They've seen movies, watched things, and probably have some idea, but they have no formal training. So I have the formal trained guys and the zero training, and I'm not trying to say who's better or whatever, but I need comments from both of you saying, what do you think you need in tactics to survive? And then my tactical people or people in the middle will throw out, I think this should be covered, I think this should be a video, an outline. Again, I'm trying to make an outline. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do one on movement and one on buildings versus recon versus assault and then ambushes. So let me start going through my list here because, I just have a whole bunch of notes here. So guerrilla war tactics obviously is going to be a big deal. And I have some links to the IRA, which was masterful at doing their tactics, and they held the army at bay, and it was, they were highly successful. Now some people are going to say they were only successful because they hit innocent people and they blew up bars. And hey, that's war. People die, people cry. You're going to have to come to the aspect that if there is a revolution here, anywhere else, again, I'm not encouraging any revolution. I'm just kind of giving my idea on how revolutions start and what kind of tactics are used in them and what might be used if there was an ongoing assault from the federal government and a pushback from the people in a revolution. So I'm not encouraging any of this. YouTube disclaimer, they'll probably block this anyway, screw them. So, guerrilla war tactics work, and that's how we kind of won our freedom. If you remember, the British were marching in line and shooting straight and killing each other. And look, we didn't fight that way. We were like, we're going to ambush you as you're walking. We're going to hit and run, guerrilla tactics. We're smaller, you're larger. We're going to use our small size for speed. Your large size, you're going to have to worry about, resupplies, ammo, keeping everybody together, chain of command. That slows you down. That makes you less effective on a moving battle than it does on a solid stationary battle. To where I can come in, I can ride up on a horse, tie my horse up, come over a hill, take out two guys, jump on my horse and be gone, and by the time you guys span out and do all your tactics and scan, make a line, send out a recon, move up, I've slowed you down, detained you, killed two people, and I'm gone. So guerrilla tactics work. So any rebellion against any government force, it always reverts back to guerrilla tactics. It has to, because we don't have the communication and the ability. The only way that it may not go to guerrilla tactics is when there's a coup and the military takes over and the military stops the government, which our military should do if our government gets much more tyrannical. They should say, hey, you guys are out of office, you're violating the Constitution. We took an oath to the Constitution being the military. But I don't foresee that happening. There's just, especially with Turkey now that they've kind of cut off everybody's nuts that did it, I know it ain't happening in Turkey again. So, we have tactics, guerrilla tactics, need to be considered. Back in the day, guerrilla tactics were considered ungentlemanlike. Who cares? At the end of the day, what works wins the war. Okay? Rules of engagement, there won't be any. It's going to be hit and miss. How can I hurt you the most? Infrastructure, buildings, vehicle workers. What targets are we going to hit? Federal employees? Or are we going to hit employees of your enemy? Are we going to hit only the enemy? Are we going to say women and children are off limits? What are the rules of engagement? Is there going to be rules of engagement? Who's going to enforce it? And why should anybody follow it? So that's going to be an issue. Chain of command. Is there going to be a chain? Do we need? You know, there was a saying, I don't know who said it, may the bridge I burn light the way for others. So if I can go burn down a bridge that is resupplying my enemy, hopefully that burning bridge will light the way for others to either come help or to do the same thing. So tactics in mind, why I'm wearing this hat and why I'm wearing this shirt. I'm going to cover it somewhere in here about blending in, the gray man. That's going to be one of the tactics on how to look weak and be strong. You don't want to look strong. I don't want to wear a shirt that says come and take it, or what does the shirt say? Don't tread on me. Basically, come and take it, don't tread on me. I don't want to wear a shirt like this to where anybody that knows the shirt says, hey, this guy's a patriot, he believes in gun rights, he's probably armed, he's probably prepared, he's probably trained. I don't want to wear this shirt. I want to wear this dumpy looking hat and be walking around like some sheep out there just being a good, liberal, saying yay Hillary and being a dumbass so nobody perceives me as a threat. So, and I think I cover that in one area here. Chain of command, individual groups working on their own. I think any revolution happens when the people as a whole just say enough's enough and everybody fights. If you remember the movie Black Hawk Down, Mogadishu, remember I was active duty those times. This is a stressful time, and I remember this. This was like one of those times like 9/11 or something really bad happened. Man, it was just a damn dark day in the military when that happened. And I was a member of the 44-man team response force, so we were activated. We thought we were going. But all we heard is that, man, the Rangers just got their ass kicked in Mogadishu. And we were like, holy shit. And I still think there's a phrase in the military, they called it the Mogadishu Mile, because our guys had to literally run out of a city, shooting their way out of a city. And I don't remember how far they did it. It was either a mile or 10 miles, but I mean, they had to run a long stinking way fighting your way out. And you know what? Sometimes you got to do that. You got to fight while you're running. So, I forgot how the hell I got on that, but anyway, I'm jumping around because I'm just reading my notes. So, again, I'm looking for feedback here on how you want these next series and tactics. What do you think topics ought to be? What's important and what's not? So I'm just giving you my list of notes. Is groups better or individual better? Medical issues. There's not going to be hospital, nurses. Are you going to be operating the field? Do you want to kill somebody or do you want to wound them? I personally, on a massive force, I want to wound them. If I shoot you in the head, I kill you. If I shoot you in the leg, I'm taking out 2 other guys to help carry you or give you medical attention, and that's 3 less people I gotta fight instead of just killing you. Now, I don't want to wound if I can take out a large number of people or I can demotivate you, then I might want to kill. Snipers like to do headshots because then it makes everybody nervous to stick their head up. So, again, different tactics and different minds. Planned ops. Are there going to be planned ops or are there going to be targets of opportunity? I think most targets in any type of revolution are targets of opportunity. You have revolutionaries, you have patriots, one man's patriot is another man's terrorist, whatever you want to call it. You're going to have people that are fighting another force, and do you want to have a plan? When you start planning things, you take the risk of somebody finding your plan, somebody telling your plan, somebody getting a copy of your plan, somebody jumping out and not wanting to do it and telling somebody else, somebody getting captured and now they reveal your plan. Whereas if you do targets of opportunity, it's just like, hey, they're moving troops over here and they got a lot of gas. If we can shoot it, we can take them out, we can take their gas. Or they got a truck and there's only 3 guys with it and we know they come on this route every day. 5 of us can take out these 3 guys and we'll have a truck. Don't damage the truck. So now we're going to get the truck and whatever's in the truck. So, do you want big plan operations? In a military, sure, you need that because you have goals, rules of engagement, all that stuff. In guerrilla warfare, I'm not so sure you need planning. What are the missions and goals and targets? How do we identify our targets? Remember, the rule of law goes away and the rule of the jungles take over. Okay? Who will protect you? Government's only going to protect their own. It's going to be every man for himself. Who's the enemy? Who do you trust? I mean, again, there's going to be fathers against sons. Remember Ben Franklin in the earlier series turned against his son because his son was a loyalist to Britain. And Ben Franklin said, I'm done with Britain. And if you're with them, then you're not with me. And it's father against son, brother against brother, and friends and family. It's going to be torn apart. But you have to make these stands. You can't keep these ties because these ties will betray you and you'll end up giving the information away or having it used against you or hurting the cause because you wanted to keep an... Remember, most tactical decisions that are made on emotion turn out bad. Okay? Tactical decisions have to be on a gain, loss, win, lose mindset. It cannot be emotional. Otherwise, you're not thinking as clearly for the tactical outcome. So, what are our mission goals and targets? I think it's going to be mainly hit and run. Weapons used. Could be rocks, Molotov cocktails, gas from cars, blowing up cars, shorting out electricity, blowing up electrical things, taking out the grid, taking out bridges, taking out automatic bridges, raising bridges, trains, etc. Blocking roads, taking railroad tracks so the trains don't do. All these things are going to be disrupting the normal flow of your enemy. Air support. Okay, air support is one of those huge things. Most governments are always going to have that in revolution. They own the air. The problem with that is it's very hard to gain the air back. How do you gain the air? Well, you either attack a base and steal a helicopter with somebody that's a pilot or knows how to fly, and then you have air support, or you develop a way to shoot down the air support with, surface air missiles. If they get close with chains, flying a drone into them that's carrying an explosive. Everybody shoots. In the military, we had 20 people. They would teach us to shoot in one area in front of the path. Instead of trying to shoot a plane as it goes by because your bullets will never hit it, everyone just shoots at the same point and the plane has to fly through this barrage of bullets. You have a better chance of taking out an engine or a plane or a helicopter by converging your rounds. Let's see here. Dealing with air support. Lasers. Shooting lasers. Distracting. Shooting. Drones. How to use it. Satellites. They're going to be used. Can we take them out? Is there a way? Can another country take out our nukes with our nuke with an EMP to take out satellites? Are you going to wear masks? Do you wear a mask to protect your face, or are you trying to hide your identity? Hoodies. Hoodies are a great way to hide your identity. Walk with your head down with a hoodie or a hat on is very hard to find you. Sunglasses. Why do you think all the hoodlums and gangs and thugs wear hoodies? Because it's great to hide your identity and nobody can tell where you're looking, what you're doing. So they can't see your eyes. They have limited information to judge you on whether you got a goofy hat and you're not a threat, or whether you got a shirt that says, hey, this guy's a gun guy, he's probably got a gun. So, those are things to take into consideration. Federal targets, federal employees, who are you doing? Dealing with search warrants and raids. Do you have a plan? Or do we need to talk about, if the military comes for you, do you have a plan of escape? What's the tactics for escape or fight? When do you choose to fight or escape? Do you have a fallback location? Do you have weapons? So there's, again, there's a multitude of tactics just from these things, and I'm trying to figure out a way to do an outline and make it constructive, so hopefully you guys can help me out. Food and water supplies. What's it going to be? The government's going to control the food and water. If you watch the movie, on the list of movies I gave you, Red Dawn, the first Red Dawn, the second was the same way. The first Red Dawn, you didn't have food, so you had to ambush food trucks. You had to find a way to steal food in order to survive. Well, that's going to happen again. It always does. The government's going to shut down the highways. They're going to keep the food in the city. In Black Hawk Down, Mogadishu, that started over the rebels grabbing the food that we were sending over there and shooting all the civilians that tried to take the food. So therefore they had the food. Guess who had the power? They did. The people who were doing it. People who were committing genocide and killing everybody. Stopping traffic. Can you divert traffic? Can you blow up roadways, bridges, etc.? Trains. How do you stop government? Make the buildings inaccessible. Government storage lots, buildings, they're going to have a place to park their cars. They're going to have to be guarding. They're going to be limited time, studying schedules, when to attack, when not to attack, day, weather, distracting cops with false alarms, breaking windows, false calls, misinformation, diversion attacks, coordinated attacks, specific duties like air, road, and entry points for different people to control, and having groups. You get in this leadership and chain of command, and you start having groups direct or redirect or ambush, IEDs, maybe not an IED. Maybe you have a board with nails across the road and any car comes by, it gets flat like a spike strip. Can you break their comm? Can you jam their comm? Can you grab one of their comm and just monitor it? You kill somebody, you get a radio, now you can monitor their comm. Now they're going to be, military and most tactics, they're always switching, they have authentication, and they're changing frequencies. But as things get bad, they're going to be doing that less and less because you'll have less technology and it'll take more resources. So if you can break their comm, great. Make them modify their plans and tactics. Don't allow them to work their plan. You mess up their plan. Protest with the peace guys. You want to go to peaceful protest. You want to go to people who maybe not being actually involved in helping you, but in Ukraine when they were protesting, there were people out there who were the fighters gathering intel, waiting for their moment to spark something. You know, one guy throws a rock in a crowd, next thing you know, 5 guys are picking up rocks, throwing it. So sometimes it only takes, and we call them, if I'm on the other side being a police, we call those the instigators, and we want to remove them. So you don't want to stand out so much that you become a target and they try to snag you, but you may want to be there gathering intel, finding out what the mood is, spreading rumors, misinformation. Those are all things to get the masses to help you and to work against your enemy. Ukraine did a pretty good job, I thought. Let's see. Shit, I forgot where I was at. LEDs, broadbands, protest. Okay, attack homes of the enemy. Do you follow people home? Most people aren't going to be protected at their home. They're going to be protected in secure area, compounds. So are tactics good for people to say, you know what? This guy works for a government. This guy works for our enemy. This guy works for whoever you're fighting in any revolution. We know when he goes home, he's the most vulnerable. That's where we want to hit him. We're going to follow him. How do you follow him home? How do you surveil somebody? How do you get there? I mean, I need to talk about that. Do following surveillance. Are you going to attack children and mother? Is there going to be rules? You know, children always pay for the sins of their parents. The Russians and Nazis kids, I'm sure, suffered because of what they did to the country. And when you support the losing side, you usually have consequences or repercussions. ISIS don't care about mothers and children. IRA, I kind of don't remember if they were blowing up children. I thought they were blowing up public places. I don't know if they were doing children or not. Sometimes if you attack children, you turn the people against you, even though you're right. So you have to minimize that, and you got to make sure we don't. I talk about that phrase, consciousness of guilt, or shock the consciousness of the court. You don't want to shock the consciousness of the public that they turn against you and start beheading children or killing puppies or doing something really bad that they're like, oh man, these guys have no credibility. So controlling people and your allies, how do you do that? Without a chain of command, without discipline, it's very hard not to have some fringe guy who out there wants to kill puppies and cut their head off, and he's associating himself with your, efforts, and now all of a sudden your efforts get tainted because of what he does. Hey, it happens. Cops do bad things and it taints cops. Guys in the military sometimes do bad things and it taints all the military. It happens. It's going to happen in any conflict. Let's see. All tactics is common. Enemy is everyone and everywhere. Okay? I think that's the way most revolutionary is. You can't really trust anybody. It's very hard to know if you don't have pre-established relationships or you don't have people vouching. But even when you have people vouching, you don't know if that person has his family in custody or if he was threatened or if the government is saying they're going to take care of him and now they're... we use informants as cops. And we use bad guys as informants. And one day they're a bad guy with a gang member, and next day they're facing time, and now they're wearing a wire, and we send them in there gathering intel and giving us. And that's going to happen in guerrilla tactics. So you have to be aware of that, on who to trust, how to trust. Do you follow people who are new and figure out what they're doing? Do you have a surveillance team that just goes out and that's all they do is gather intel on the members and make sure? That sounds kind of Nazi SS, not trusting anybody, but look. In a war, you got to be careful. Our founding fathers had to be careful. They'd have been hung from a tree if they got caught. So, let's see. Common enemy. So, good tactic movies. I already went over those. The Milgram Experience, Follow Orders. You got to be careful. I'm going to talk about the Lucifer Effect. Just Policy, Just Doing My Job. Yield to Authority. Let's see. Money, oil, energy. Conspiracy is the facts, the theory. Those are all things that have to be considered in your plan. Do you need it? Do you not need it? Does it matter? Does it hurt your enemy if you can destroy it, hurt it, or mess it up? Hell, if I can blow up a bank with the gold with a nuke and make all the gold radioactive, ISIS, any of these countries, if they turn our gold into radioactive shit that we can't use, how much is gold worth? If the majority of it's radioactive. Let's see, species that adapt survive. Those that don't die off. So in a conflict or revolution, you've got to be able to adapt. You cannot stay in this neutral position and think you're going to live. You're not. You're going to be a casualty of one side or the other. Either one side's going to use you or take you out and think you're helping the other guys, or the other side's going to use you or think you're helping them and take you out. So this neutral stance, especially like liberals, love to be on the fence, never make decisions, don't want to offend anybody, I want to be nice to everybody. Those guys got to go. I don't trust them. They don't stand for shit. So that's just one more reason why I don't trust liberals, because they have no moral compass, they have no code. They just want to accept everything and be nice, and they have nothing they stand for. I don't like those kind of people. I can't trust them. You can't depend on them. Thomas Jefferson said, you need a revolution every generation. 3 types of passengers on the Titanic, deer in the headlights. We're going to die. What do we do now? And we know the ship is unsinkable. Screw it. Let's go to the bar. We don't care. I forgot why I made that note. Survive the transition phase of the result. I've got to survive the 4th day here. At the first point, you're going to lose a lot of medical issues. You're going to lose a lot of people who are fighting. And then the kind of boundary lines will start to the finish. Kind of like when you're in a battle, the enemy and friendly lines start to develop, and then one side has to move that line by pushing forward, attacking from the rear, etc. So the first few days is going to be critical. And if you don't have guns, ammo, food, and water, well then you're a victim. You may not last the first few days, so don't bother listening to the rest of this because you're not going to have a chance to use it. Let's see, motivated by military critical thinking based on survival. Local food production, where it happens, when the crash happens. Be aware of government dependency. Make sure you're self-sufficient. Things will go back to local. If you have things local established before, that'll be great. If you don't, you're kind of screwed. Cities are going to be abandoned and unsustainable. Cities are going to be the strongholds for the government because they'll have a lot of people that need their help that can't survive. So they're going to find power and be able to control them and move them to their side. Fail of the individual, let's see. An individual is going to fail. If you want to survive, you've got to be a member of a tribe, group, gang, or community. Okay, lone individuals just don't make it. I mean, you can make it for a while, but you're going to have to trust somebody at some point to get help, food, water, medical, something. So, if you have some sort of baseline now, if you have a few people that are like-minded, if you're able to talk and you could trust people now, if something were to happen, you could, reaffirm those relationships and make them more solid. 5 stages. Grief, denial, it can't happen. Anger, bargaining, should we have it? I'm not sure why I put that. Depression is next. Final stage is acceptance. Those willing to act. The 100th monkey, washing the coconut. There's a theory out there about that, if you can get 100 monkeys to start doing something, pretty soon the whole tribe, everybody will start doing it, and that will stay. And I think they did it with a sweet potato or a coconut. The monkeys started washing it. They had one monkey that would wash it. Another monkey watched him. He started washing it. Next thing you know, a lot of monkeys doing it. On the 100th monkey, it spread like wildfire, and everybody just did it because everybody was doing it. And a revolution has waves like that, and a country has waves. And when somebody starts getting big and important and popular, and everybody's cheering, and Hillary and the DNC right now, and they think, oh my God, it's a woman, isn't the world great? Well, they lose focus of what's going on. They'll let the whole damn place burn down because they're engrossed in this one thing, but everybody will join in. Just like in a mob. Everybody's doing a peaceful protest till one guy throws a rock, and everybody throws a rock. Everybody's peaceful until one guy provokes a cop to hit him, and when the cops hit him, then the rest of the mob comes to his defense, and that's how you spark it. They used that in the mob in the 20s when they were trying to outlaw alcohol. So tactics have been around. If you looked, knew what to look for. Misdirection, misinformation. Play weak to be strong. Wear a hat like this, not a shirt like this. A blind man can hear better than a seeing man, and a deaf person can see better than a man who has sight. So if you don't change directions, you'll end up where you're going. Our country needs to change directions, or we're going to end up exactly where we're going. 25 most feared guerrilla groups, common factors they all had common. They were masked, their face were covered, they did kidnapping, political kidnappings, robbery, liberal supporters, violent resistance, non-violent resistance, fear, terror, distribution of power, civilian targets. All these things usually happen in guerrilla groups. Common grievances and demand, who's going to be talking, because there's always going to be some weak-ass politician sitting up there trying to say, I don't want to be the peacemaker, let's shake hands and hug and stop the killing. Screw you. It's too freaking late. The reason we're here is because of dumbasses like you. So somebody's going to want to get together and do grievances. Top 10 revolutions, I don't know if I carried that or not. The Taiping rebellion, Iranian religious rebellion, the Cuban Revolution by the Castro brothers, us breaking away from Britain, the Russian Revolution led by Lenin, the American Civil War, The French Revolution by King Louis. Or fighting King Louis. So anyway, those are some of the top revolutions. You want to research those and read how they did it and check out things. Another thing that are in tactics, you're going to have checkpoints. Or people are going to have to show ID, show papers, restriction of travel and movement. You're going to have to develop different ways of moving. So that might be one episode. Shit, I must be at 24 minutes because I started this. I am. Shit, I'm only looking at my notes and I haven't even got to a damn episode yet. Bombing, assassinations, carjack, robbery, paying for info, foods and supplies, who do you trust, misinformation, controlling the press, restricting communication, using people for what you need as assets, informants, traitors, defectors, spies, disgruntled employees for the government, military defectors, oath keepers, 3%, taking hostages for trade for somebody that you want, comm, radios, communication, flares, drones, pigeons, drop locations, dead drops, personal meetings, flyers, posters, radio, propaganda, photos, getting the news out, posting things. The enemy takes pictures of downed aircraft, always to kind of show we're winning. Look at us. Guys are always standing when they have a thing. That's going to be part of getting the people behind you. Transporting and moving prisoners. Make sure you have a bag overhead. You want to disorient them. You want to confuse. You want to conceal the location. Make escape harder. You want to have less emotional attraction. So all those when you're dealing with prisoners. Whether you want high ground, perimeter control, ambushes, cover and move, overlapping fire, rally points, fallback rally points, ammo on you, conserve ammo, moving, maintaining distance and available cover. Government makes peaceful revolution impossible when they when they make peaceful revolution impossible, they encourage a violent revolution. Okay? That's kind of where we're at. Zip ties are great. I want to talk about securing prisoners, their feet, moving them, riot wear. How are you going to get riot wear? You're going to either get it from sports shops, from people with sports, football, helmets. You're going to get it from people that you attack and take, that you beat up, dead bodies. You're going to be seizing equipment, etc. So how do you grow your equipment? Let's see, spray paint. You can spray paint either the mask of your attacker, you can spray paint cameras, you can spray paint drones. So spray painting armored trucks, you can, spray paint a windshield or throw paint on a windshield. The car ain't moving. He's kind of screwed. Blocking their vision, hiding their movement, protective glasses so you don't do it. Let's see here. You can use the lid of a pot as a shield for rubber bullets to help protect you. You're going to have to figure out how to use different things to protect you, protecting yourself, making things. Scarf to protect your mouth and lungs from tear gas. Thick rubber gloves for your hands for tear gas. Shoes that make you can run easily and quickly. Cuba, 57. Castro took over in 59. Same man thinking about hope and change. I forgot. I made a note on that. I can't really make it out. They attacked the press, they shut down radio and TV, and they attacked freedoms. That's kind of what's going on now, the same thing happened in Cuba. Dangerous people, who do you come in contact? Post-collapse environment, who are you contacting? How do you move? How do you know how to meet somebody? Where do you meet? Should you avoid them? Should you just be aware of them? Should you follow them? There's a lot of ifs, ands, and buts, coconuts in this. Higher than average risk, you want to give a risk assessment to everybody, whether I want to meet them or not, to my target, etc. Shit, I'll bet you I'm over 30 minutes. Damn, I still got freaking 3 pages. Alright, hopefully, recon targets, only the dead have seen the end of war. Plato said that. Notice who's paying attention and who isn't. When you're moving around, if I'm paying attention to you, I don't want to make it look like I'm following you and I'm making notes. I want to make it look like I'm not paying attention, because if I'm paying attention, then other people are going to be paying attention to me. If I see somebody paying attention, I'm watching them because they're gathering intel. A lot of things here. Hopefully I don't want to go over 30 minutes because this damn thing will cut me in half. So let me get out of here and put your comments in there on what you think I need to do. Good, bad. Maybe give me an outline on what you think the titles ought to be, and I appreciate the feedback.